Welcome to Sophia Simone. Today's story is titled The Tale of Grace and Jealousy. What would you do if the very people meant to protect you turned you into a servant? This is the story of Grace, a young girl whose kindness was her only weapon against cruelty and envy. But what no one expected was how her spirit would change her fate forever. In a small village nestled between rolling hills and meandering streams, there lived a young girl named Grace. Her name suited her well, for she carried herself with a quiet strength and elegance. But Grace's life was far from easy. Grace was just 12 years old when her life changed forever. Her parents, struggling to make ends meet, decided to send her to live with distant relatives in hopes that she might have a better chance at life. With tears in her eyes, Grace promised to be strong, not knowing what lay ahead. The house she entered was beautiful, but inside it was far from warm. Grace's relatives viewed her not as family, but as an extra pair of hands. She became their maid, working tirelessly from sunrise to sunset. What they hoped would be a fresh start quickly turned into a nightmare. Grace was treated less like family and more like a servant. From dusk until dawn, she scrubbed floors, washed dishes, and tended to the needs of a household that showed her little kindness. The family's granddaughter, Clara, quickly took notice of Grace. Clara, spoiled and sharp-tongued, couldn't stand the way others admired Grace's beauty and quiet strength. Every compliment Grace received felt like an insult to Clara's pride. And so, Clara made it her mission to break Grace's spirit. Clara harbored a deep jealousy toward Grace. Clara's features were ordinary, her manners sharp and disrespectful, a stark contrast to Grace's natural beauty and gentle spirit. The more Grace shone, the darker Clara's envy grew. Clara's jealousy showed itself in cruel ways, harsh words, petty schemes, and constant reminders that Grace was just a charity case. But Grace never retaliated. Instead, she endured the mistreatment with quiet resilience, her heart refusing to harden. From petty pranks to outright lies, Clara's jealousy knew no bounds. But what frustrated her the most was Grace's response. No matter how cruel Clara was, Grace remained kind, refusing to let bitterness take root in her heart. Years passed, and Grace's strength didn't go unnoticed. One day, Grace met James, a kind-hearted young man who was visiting a village. She was tending to a garden when he came by. While speaking with her, James saw the light in her that others tried to dim. He admired her courage, her compassion, and her beauty, not just outwardly, but within. As their friendship grew, so did Clara's jealousy. While Grace was in the garden one day, Clara came over to talk to her, stating, You'll never be more than a servant. Clara spat, her words filled with venom. But Grace simply smiled and replied, "It is not where you come from that defines you, but how you rise above it." Over time, James knew that he wanted to take Grace away from that life and take care of her. In time, Grace and James fell in love and married. The union was a celebration of hope and new beginnings, a life far removed from the bitterness that once surrounded her. Grace's life blossomed after she married James and left that house. She became a mother to beautiful children and created a home filled with love and laughter. The struggles she once endured became a distant memory, a testament to her strength and perseverance. After Grace married James and left the household that had once been her prison, together they built a life full of love and laughter. Years later, when Grace looked back, she felt no anger, only gratitude for the lessons that shaped her. Grace's story wasn't just one of survival. It was one of triumph. She proved that no amount of cruelty could extinguish the light of a kind and resilient heart. That's the end of the story, but at the end of every story I tell you all on this channel, I would like to end it with the moral of the story. So the moral of this story is that true beauty lies in the strength of your character. When faced with jealousy, cruelty, and hardship, let your kindness and dignity be your armor. Grace's story reminds us that life's challenges are not meant to break us, but to shape us into something stronger and brighter. Thank you for listening. If Grace's story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs a reminder of the power of resilience. For more inspiring true story, subscribe and come back and keep listening. Thank you.